Hi, welcome to Let's Humanize the Workplace, and this will be the last episode of 2020, and oh, what a year it has been. My name is Vivian Aqua, and I'm the Inclusive Workplace Wellness Advocate, and I do have to admit, ever since that we are in a lockdown in the Netherlands, so kids are working home or they are homeschooled now. I'm trying to minimize the workload and I'm still doing that already. But I also know that these conversations, people have told me that they find a lot of inspiration from these conversations. So this will be the last conversation of 2020. But if you have missed the previous conversations, know that I'm on LinkedIn or I'm on YouTube, I'm on a podcast. If you want to beat the Zoom fatigue and still listen to the valuable content, know that I am. You can listen to the episodes on iTunes or Google Podcasts or on other famous podcasts as well. I do have to honor one person, or the person that started everything, right? Who started giving me inspiration to move away from corporate workplace and to start doing workplace wellness. And on top of that, doing Amplify DEI. So I owe everything to Orlando. Here he was 3, he's now 7, but I owe everything up to him. So I will mention him from time to time, but he's my pride and joy. He's my everything. He's also annoying when he shows me the mirror and he's confronting me with things. But then again, kids are amazing. So cherish them, value them, because I value mine as well. This quote means the world to me because sometimes we forget, even if it's just, just opening a door or making connections or creating the next impact where you are lifting one person, maybe a whole group, maybe a whole tribe as you climb. I couldn't have been here where I am now without my mentors. I couldn't have been here where I am now without the many amazing people that I've met along the way. And also the people on LinkedIn, you know who you are. You have opened up your network to me. You have opened up great connections, great friends, great business friends, great ideas to me. And I want to say thank you. So this is actually a tribute to all the amazing people that I've met while I've been growing, while I've been doing this, while I've been doing Humanizing the Workplace, but also Amplify DEI. This is my tribute to you. So thank you. And I want to bring up the following guests. I'm going to bring them one by one and also going to mention something about them. So first of all, I have Heather. Heather is an experienced keynote speaker, author, and also CEO of Employee Fanatix, leading employee engagement, leadership development, and DEI consulting firm. And I have Daniela Felletti, and she is a diversity, inclusion educator, inclusive headhunter, and also an executive career advisor. And last but not least, I also have Hines, who is a strategic business consultant whose firm primarily focuses on CEOs and their executive management team. And people also know her as the business contactor. And like I said, I am the Inclusive Workplace Wellness Advocate. Everything related to workplace well-being or DEI is my jam. But today, I want to tribute those who are lifting as they climb, and I want to also share something about the concept as well. I am seeing hello. Thank you, Emma, for this podcast. Thank you. And also Alejandra, who is an ambassador for Daniela. So thank you. And let's start with the first question. I want to start with you, Heather. Why do we need to humanize the virtual workplace?
I think the main reason is that people are in pain. I mean, they've been in pain for a very long time, but they are in a lot of pain right now. We've seen all the stats on mental health and folks feeling very much alone. And so, as humans, we need to meet each other where we're at. We have to take that time to just be with each other. And so I think the most important is that people are in a lot of pain, and we want to try to alleviate that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And thank you for sharing. And Daniela.
Well, why not? It was already necessary before COVID, before virtual. As Heather said, it's people are in pain for a long time before virtual world. But the thing is, pyramidal and hierarchical way of working structures didn't allow it. Are not allowing it, and now it's just the virtual makes it more real. The needs.
Yeah. Betty.
I feel that it's important because we need to be our authentic selves. We've been confined, and as we've talked about earlier, about in the four walls. So by humanizing it, it allows us to personalize it and connect with people to find out more about their personal, their family, their business, and their finances. So it allows us to be ourselves because we can see the expressions, the visual expressions that people are making.
I'm going to challenge you because there was a time where you kept home separate, you kept your personal life separate, right? And you have to remain, personal, you remain professional, remain in your suit, and you held up a mask. Now we are in a space where home, personal lives, our professional lives are mashing with each other. What do you have to say to managers, to people who don't believe both can mix, don't believe both can be integrated? Yes, Betty.
I think we have to. In fact, as I mentioned, I facilitated a group this morning. And what we did, we started including your personal life, your family, because if your personal and family are upside down, it does flow over to your business and your financials. So it has to be inclusive. And how much you choose to share depends on if you feel it's a safe haven or not.
True. Heather, what is your take on this?
I was just going to say, if they don't think that they're missing the mark and they need people like the ones right here on this screen to help them, get closer to the mark. So if they are wanting to have more retention, they're wanting to have more customer satisfaction, they're wanting to have, higher stocks and, stakeholder value, all those things, right? They're just not going to get that if they can't manage to bring more of their selves to work. And then if you have your people bringing them full selves to work and you're bringing your full selves to work, then voila, you get all the things you want.
Yeah. And what do you have to share from a DEI perspective, Daniela?
Well, I have also actually an example very real happening right now recently with a client where they experienced a very, very hard time of burning out. Leadership was not engaging, but again, pyramidal structure. So the CEO is trying to connect to their people, and there is also language barriers and many other barriers that were not really considered before. So working on connection, as Betty said before, is the first thing to create this trust. Then people actually can rejoin it, and we can identify talents to have retention and then attract the new ones. So the process of recruiting a new leader that may be inclusive, we need first to clean up the what's happening inside, right? To identify what the next leader will actually get in their hands. So from a D&I perspective, it's really necessary. It's the base of the diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, I also have a challenging thing. So you brought in your ambassadors. Next time I will encourage everybody to bring in the ambassadors. So thank you, Emily, for joining. And also Alejandra is mentioning something real. She says, I hear a lot of people that apologize for every time their toddlers, mostly women, come in camera or the doorbell rings, and none should be sorry for that stuff. How can we change that perspective? And in the end, our jobs have entered out our personal spaces, and these situations belong to that. I totally agree. I agree. Remember that time when the BBC journalists had two kids? The one kid really made that pose saying, yes, Humpty Dumpty Dum, I'm coming in. And the mother, who was like a ninja, removed the kids. And at that time, we made fun. But even though the guy kept his composure and nothing was, everybody liked it. But when it happens towards women, why is it so that it's weird? I mean, my son might be dropping in from time to time, and I'm just like, he's part of every solution that I bring in. So I cannot excuse him because my work is now from home, and it's his home as well.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, just a thought on that as well. I have a lot of women that I work with, and a lot of them do have small children. And when that does happen, we bring them in, say hello, because your environment has changed. You're no longer in your office. You're no longer in your cubbyhole. So we also have to recognize the impact that it's having on your children as well. They want to know, what are you doing? Why are you at that laptop all the time? And so this way it engages them to it as well. So I think it's important to include them.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it actually forces us to humanize. You know, we talk about this humanizing workplace. Well, this is our workplace, like right here. I'm in my basement and my kids are walking around upstairs and my dog is going click, click, click with her nails on the hardwood floor. and so if I'm in a meeting, I mean, I've been on prospect calls and I'm on a full panel of people. And one kid will like peek over the side through like a door, and I'll say, "Is that come on?"
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, "Here's Mateo." I mean, and so that's I think if we all were to do that, we would force the hand of humanizing the workplace.
Yeah,
right. So that there's just no choice but them to see us for who we are. Period.
Yeah. I also see Emma is reacting. Emma is saying, I think a lot of women are often much more apologetic. I agree, as that is the way we unfortunately are brought up. Men have different measure they are held to, and we need to take this and change the narrative. I totally agree. But coming towards, because otherwise we are sidetracking, I want to bring this following question, and I want to start with Daniela. How are you lifting others while you are climbing? If you would look into 2020, what did you do to lift others?
Wow. I think as I climb, I'm climbing, I'm lifting others, and others are lifting me myself. It's just a cycle. And this year it was really challenging. But in the same time, I felt like it was the opportunity to build resilience together in a collective way. Like a collective intelligence became really the strength of life for everyone. And when I talk about inclusive leadership, for me, it's about that as well. Lifting others, it's helping others grow as you grow as well. And an example in social projects, there is Lean in Bordeaux network. The network I run in Bordeaux, it's an amazing network for human, where actually we built this team of 8 human helping each other to make impact and help the community and the leaders. How we created the synergy and the cohesion of being there for each other in difficult times, but also in the great times as well. We built resilience together through this confinement, and one of things we did was like creating a space to really thrive together and implement the inclusive leadership approach. It's still ongoing, but I'm really, really proud of how they evolve, and we are evolving together.
I totally agree. I'm not part of the Lean In Bordeaux team. I'm part of I'm part of the Lean In Circle in Amsterdam, and they have been a blessing throughout this lockdown, because sometimes I've been in challenging situations, especially the time when I had to share my personal feelings regarding what happened to George Floyd and how it impacted me and impacted my son. They have been a blessing. So this is a shout out for Lean In Amsterdam Circle to say thank you for the support as well. And Humans First, but then I'm going to bring it on
True.
towards Heather. Heather, what do you have to share?
Yeah. I've realized over the years, I'm the only child, and I've realized over the years that uplifting others is the only way I'm not alone. And so I choose in kind of everything I do to bring other people in. I actually feel a little uncomfortable when I'm standing in the room by myself, to be honest. I like to be around other people who are passionate, brilliant, heart focused. And so 2 ways I've done that. I've mentored people, basically folks who just reach out to me. There are folks that reach out to me a lot on LinkedIn. And while there might be some people that are like me that would ignore those requests, I don't. So I take it upon myself to talk to pretty much almost everybody who reaches out to me, because I feel like I was put on this earth to uplift them in some way. And so I take that time. And then I think secondarily with my podcast, Leadership with Heart, I uplift people there. And then this next book, The Art of Caring Leadership, highlights 80 of those people that I've interviewed. And so that's a way to really highlight them. I try to find every avenue I can to highlight other people and the brilliance they bring, particularly in the heart space, in the leadership space. So I focus a lot on that. And I think those are, it's in the epitome. It's like, I live it, I breathe uplifting other people. I just feel empty when I'm not doing it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And Betty, I think that you both are similar to that, right?
Yes, I certainly get a lot of joy and pleasure in lifting up others. One of the things that I started doing more of is on social media, when I see that people received an award or a recognition, I certainly reposted and congratulate them and tag some other people. Or I might make a statement or make a mention as to who else do you know, so they can bring some others into the fold, so they can get the recognition. Plus, as you're probably aware of, I launched virtually the Women Elevating Women. And this is a platform where I give women an opportunity to talk about the pillars of success. And so a lot of them might not have had speaking engagements, but it allows them to come on and they pre-record 7 minutes and they share their stories on what they've done on that particular pillar and how it can positively impact that particular woman, business, or visionary then. So there's things that we need to do more in terms of connecting, because right now it's not just about, for my group that I work with, access to capital. Because we're closed in, it's access to information and to opportunities. And so that gives us an opportunity to just show our leadership in that way.
Yeah. Which brings me to the next question that I have, because I know that we are talking about women, but men, bear with me, you can still implement the tips that we share here. So no, I don't want no haterade about where are the men. This month is a special tribute to women, and that's why I wanted to highlight it, but know that the tips that we are sharing is still applicable for men. So if you want to apply that, that's totally fine. But coming towards that, Betty, how can we best support women? Because to be honest, before I started my entrepreneurial journey, I had a mindset and I did not invest as much as I'm doing now in my knowledge. I did not invest as much as I knew now in my network. And there were so many other things that I wasn't doing until I switched on or activated my entrepreneurial mindset. How come? How come that it is the knowledge that we don't invest enough in our knowledge, or how come that we don't invest enough in our network? How come that we don't step outside of our comfort zone? I know I'm asking a lot, but
No, absolutely. In terms of how we best support women, one of the things that we have to come to terms with is that there is enough air out there for all of us.
Amen.
So as women, once we learn how to collaborate, and it's really a test of our fortitude, because quite honestly, we've not been very good at that. Our male species have been. But once we learn how to collaborate, we'll find that we can do some things together. We have no option, because as a collective force, we are a force of women to be reckoned with. So once we drop those barriers and embrace each other, I don't care because I work primarily with women in marginalized communities. If we drop those barriers, we can be more supportive and we can all gain, we can all strive.
The world is indeed big enough. I totally agree. And Heather?
Supporting women. I believe in supporting humans. So for me, it's just like, I want to, whoever needs me, and it tends to be the people who reach out to me to talk, 9 times out of 10 are women, right? They want to find out about a journey or what their journey, or help some, some decision that they want to make or whatever it is. And so, I think just being an ear, empathy and compassion and listening, I think, are just the cornerstones of everything that we need to be doing in the workplace. So, the way I think to support them is really to listen and, and really listen deeply. I know there was one young lady that called me, and after hearing her story, I think she was assuming I was going to give her an answer. And no, I actually set her along a journey that she needed to go on, one of creativity, to help her land on the spot she needed to go on. And so I think that real deep listening, the intense listening, and really trying to seek to understand is cool, because that's the way you give them what they really need, right? And often it's just inspiration. So that's how I choose to support women.
Yeah, I totally get that. Daniela?
I would amazing comments already about the supporting humans. Yeah, also. I would add more about breaking bias, how we can support human, eradicating it from society, from the workplace. You can be an ally. You can not be passive when discrimination comes in the way, when someone is not in the room. If I am not in the room and there is a comment about me, I want to have allies in the room that will actually speak up for me on behalf. And it comes to bias related to gender, but also many other discriminations. We can go really far from the conversation, but breaking bias is a way of supporting human as well, to help us continue thriving and creating mentorship, sponsorship, sponsor us, mentor us. As human, we can keep helping each other, as Heather said, as well. Sometimes it's just listening. I would say, as an advisor as well, because I'm doing career advisory, sometimes I need to step back to not say everything, and let them actually get in their own way. But sometimes I feel the need of giving a little push, just to help them actually get the first courage to step in. So this is the way I work with my community as well. Identify the leaders, I identify who is being more proactive, and I approach them and I challenge them in small things and seeing how it goes. Giving them some tools and some resource, and preparing the field when they actually feel more comfortable to really lean into the challenge they are facing.
I totally agree. And the card was for Heather and for Daniela. So for somebody calling out, you didn't give Heather a card, no, it's for both of them. But I wanted to, yes, I'm an inclusive. I don't want to exclude people from this card, but I just also want to say something about this question, because so many times when women are faced with an opportunity, they say no because they don't fit maybe 5 of the 10, skill sets or whatever. And if indeed the vacancy, or if indeed the opportunity isn't a right fit, don't say no and let that person wander around like nobody's reacting. I can't find the woman. Directing towards somebody else that you might know of, because not only are you helping that other person, but you're helping yourself indirectly as well, because that person will remember. And next time that person has something for you, they will know your name. So please let us stop saying no. Instead, say, how can I help you? Maybe I know somebody within my network who might be a right fit. Don't say no and shut down or close the door. And also, I totally agree with what you said, Daniela, regarding the mentorship. And we need sponsors. We don't need mentors. We need sponsors, and sponsors as in sponsoring knowledge, opening doors or sponsoring networks, or at least bringing us into spaces where you don't see us that often.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah. Alejandra is on fire.
Yes.
She says we need allies. We need spaces where women feel safe, secure, raising their voices, knowing that none will judge, and we will trust and support them. And that is why this doesn't belong to women. We need allies everywhere. Together we are stronger. Yes, love it, love it. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Alejandra. Going to the next question. What is your tip to recruit allies in your journey? Because I do believe we need allies in our journey, but how do we approach them? Let's start with Heather.
My way of doing this, it has always been meeting people where they're at and finding out what it is that's important to them and kind of pinpointing that and speaking their language, because not everybody's going to speak in my terms. Yeah. So I think, like, from a tactical tip, it's finding out if there's one particular person or a couple people that you have in mind in a workplace that you'd like for them to show up as allies, show up as sponsors, that kind of thing. It really is trying to approach them from their vantage point, and maybe even how them turning into allies would benefit you. I mean, often I've found that allies just kind of come up on their own. They're kind of an organic thing. But there is, sometimes we do have to go out and kind of foster the relationship so that they see the reason behind becoming allies.
Yeah. It makes me think of Michael Jackson's song "Off the Wall," right? You cannot be a wallflower and just expect allies to pop up. So come off the wall and also, engage in that relationship as well. Yeah. Yeah. Daniela.
Well, starting the conversation, starting comfortable conversations, using empathy inquiry instead of judging. Because mostly I actually found allies who were not aware of their bias very often by starting the conversation. Then they learn in the way, and they become allies because they didn't know what they didn't know. So as soon as we start the conversation, it's a way of getting people curious to learn more and talk more. And I really, when I see often human comes to me talking about it, actually. Maybe it's a coincidence, but how do I find an ally in my company? It's opening up and going to the person that you trust most and opening up about your challenge, about everything, and say, I need you, because otherwise you were alone, right? In a mail, for example.
So how do you start that conversation? Is it, hey, do you want to become my ally, or?
No. Simply being vulnerable and bringing up things that we never share usually. But in a way where it's not about making you a victim, it's more about explaining, like telling the story and telling what is happening and how we were being treated, but in a way where you can actually get the attention of the person, where they can actually be interested in help you. Usually, if you trust this person and you work together, they will be sensitive to this to the situation of how to help you. It's basically
Yeah, and also what helps is not sharing this in a group setting, but just have that one-on-one conversation with the person, because otherwise you won't know what their true color will be if they are in a group, and they might be saying no whilst they wanted to say yes, but because of the peer pressure of the group, they are maybe afraid, or maybe there are other reasons why they won't, commit to what you are asking.
Yes. It's simply having someone who helps, like, credit your idea, or simple actions can actually lift you a lot. So maybe starting by trusting people who are close to you and see if there is this trust. If they're not, so I would leave, to be honest.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's like, it's the relationship building part, isn't it? I really feel like some of it is relationship building. If you did that at the beginning with, no matter what issue pops up, and you, like you just said, Daniela, you built that trust up, it just makes it so much easier. It doesn't seem forced. And because they're your ally, even in a general sense at that point, and then you go into with a specific issue, and it just happens more easily than if you just try to go cold into something without a relationship, right?
It makes me also think about the relationship that my son has with his classmate. That something happens at a young age where kids don't learn to connect with other people anymore, and the much older we get, the more we lose that connectivity, the more we lose the way to communicate with each other and really have that one-on-one conversation where you can agree to disagree, but at least respect each other in the workplace.
Yeah. I'd like to add something to that I learned this year. My coach shared with me in terms of recruiting allies. What she's been working with me on is to make sure that I have a clear narrative as to who I am, what I represent, my values, and what I can bring to help resolve some of the solutions I can bring and the benefits they will get from these solutions. And I have to be intentional about it. And quite honestly, that's how you and I met, through a conversation that I had with a mutual relationship. Said, look, and we were very clear on where we stood, and that led to an introduction of us. So I think you need to have a very good clarity and make sure that it's clear, a clear narrative in who you're speaking to. Where you can talk about, because if you don't have a clear narrative, it's hard for the ally. If they're confused as to what value you're trying to bring, the benefit that you'll bring in providing that service or that product, then it's going to be all over the place. So that is one of the tips that I was given, and I still work on it.
I love it. I also have a few reactions coming in. Maribel is sharing, it's doable. It can also be challenging when you are the HR director at a company and are trying to show others you are not the enemy. Some trusted me while others didn't. I built some good, strong relationships, and others there were not budging them. You help those who allow themselves to be helped. And I do agree. I do have to be honest, because I have a bias against HR, which is based on my experience from HR. So every time a comment pops up from a HR director, it brings up also that level of history that I have with HR as well. And I get what she's saying. It's not easy always to be a person or the HR professional bringing in the bad news or bringing in the good news, whilst people have seen you in different conversations where something maybe negative happened to them. So I totally understand that as well.
Well, I'll tell you, I had to wear that hat one time. And my compliments to all those who are in that HR field. That is not something I enjoy. And I'm glad I recognized that. But what I found, though, when you wear that hat, because, you're dealing with everybody's problems, anything and everything. It's hard to have the allies, but then you have to define, what do you mean by an ally? What you really are looking for is that, know that I'm going to drive the mission forward, and I'm going to be honest and forthright, because that's a place that, at the HR person, you're there to resolve everybody's issue, regardless of the depth of it. So that's not a role that I ever want to be in again. Congratulations to you for staying in there.
and we need HR.
Lifting others.
Yes, we need HR.
You have to recognize
HR's in an
that's not what it is.
HR's in an untenable position. They really are. There's a huge, the organization needs them, the people on the ground need them, and unfortunately they're competing interests. And so they're kind of stuck right in the middle. So, I understand that, because as a child, I was really stuck in the middle of some battles of different sides of things. And so I understand how they're having to stand there and be kind of two-faced. That's really what, and it's just, it's a requirement of the job, right? And at the same time, they want to have heart, exhibit heart, but then they have to also hold their hearts back in order to do some parts of their role. It's a very untenable position. I am with you. Like, blessings to all who are in that role. We need that role. I do not agree to get rid of that role. Because I see the value, but it is hard. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Challenging as well. I also wanted to share Alejandra. I think Alejandra is inviting herself to come to this show. So we need to speak the same language, make them understand that the change can only be brought by all movements work together, be empathic, and also challenge them to address each problem in different times and spaces. And Alejandra, you need to write something, a book or something, because you're bringing in awesome comments as well. I want to go to the next question because 2020 is almost ending. And oh, what a challenging year it has been. It's been a tornado. It has been a storm for everybody. Everybody is riding, having different boat sizes, maybe an airplane or a yacht or a private plane for some of the 1% people, but everybody was in this storm. And I just want to applaud everybody for making it, but also share a little bit of support and heart for those who didn't and those who lost a friend or lost one, because it is challenging. And I also want to share my condolences or my sympathy towards that as well. But I'm also looking forward to beyond the afterlife of COVID or after COVID, because I'm done. I'm done with this lockdown. I'm done with this physical distancing. I need to hug people. I need to see people, and I need to be around different people than my partner and my child. I need to really see people. So I'm looking forward to that in 2021. Hopefully, somewhere in 2021 where we are able to meet each other. And I also want to make a commitment to both of you, hopefully be seeing both of you or all of you in a commitment before 2025.
Yeah.
That's what I'm striving for. So
hopefully,
ending on that note, what is your wish for 2025 when it comes to humanizing the workplace and lifting others as you climb? And I'll start with Betty.
For me, this has been a very tough year. And I'm just proud that I'm able to even be on this call. Because if I start talking about it, I'll start tearing up. But for me, the wish for 2025 is that we allow ourselves time to think. Some people with their businesses, they've had to pivot, but recognize that we've had to shift. And I do believe that we are very durable individuals, but take time to think. I've taken time to look inwardly and not judge myself, not to be so hard on myself, but to use this as an opportunity to say, how can I make things better? Or how can I help someone else that's in a different situation? Because we've been going a mile a minute. And essentially, the COVID has made us come to a screeching halt. So rather than be disgusted and angry with it, that we use to find the good and what we can do for others. And that's why what I've done is with these virtual platforms, I try to bring other women in to talk about what have they done? What are some of the beautiful things that they've done? How have they shifted their businesses in spite of the COVID? So take time to think and take time for self.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that as well. And Heather?
My wish would be that all those who have the power to change the experience for employees in the workplace do so, and that they show more intentional care for those that they lead, for those who look to them for guidance. In the end, this is a like haves and have-nots. This is a power play that exists inside the workplace. When we're talking about women, when we're talking about minorities, when we're talking about employees at the very front line of the business, and we're all of this. There's so much power dynamic going on here. And so my wish would be that those in leadership decide to uplift others by caring more, showing more care in how they interact with their people, how they show up every day, how much they include them, how much they accept them for who they are through and through. That would be my wish.
Can I add something on that as well? I want to also apply the word self for leadership. So if every time that you read or listen to somebody saying leadership, also look at yourself as in self-leadership. We don't always need to wait until leaders say have the okay or give the green light. I wish that you look in your own environment, your own zone, as in how you can apply everything that Heather, also everything that Betty has shared within your own environment as well.
Amen. Oh, can you put the awesome sign up? I can't hold that up.
Thank you.
This is awesome.
Thank you. And Daniela.
Yeah, my wish is kind of a complement to what Heather said, and you already added that, leaders, companies, I just wish it would be just normal, be inclusive, part of the journey and not a marketing thing. And that I think every single individual, as you said, the self-leadership is not applied only for leaders and who has the power. Every single individual in the company, they can play a game to make it work, make change. So being ally, being a listener, but very empathetic. It's about learning how to work together in a learning environment. And again, as we already mentioned here, bringing the sense of belonging and really feel you are part of something and that you can bring your voice, share your ideas, but also not burn out.
Yeah, I applaud that. And I couldn't have said it any better. And I am grateful for having the three of you here today, as in the last episode for this year, and also as a positive message for ending 2020 and bring this message back to 2021. Because I'm not doing this episode just for you to leave it in 2020. I'm doing this episode for you to bring it back to the future generations and the following years, where we are unapologetic living our lives, but also unapologetic being ourselves at home, but also in the workplace, while respecting each other as well. So I want to say thank you for the listeners. Thank you for those who are watching live. Thank you for those who are watching the replay or listening to the replay. I just want to share one thing, and that is, like I said, you can always watch or listen to this episode. So share some love, share some reviews. And I want to say thank you to all the guest speakers of today, because again, it's the last day or my last episode for this year. And I truly value you for inspiring not only me, but also so many other people who are watching or listening to this episode. Thank you. I'm also
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The four of you. Thanks for being so open, vulnerable, and honest. And this is what real leaders do. It is a pleasure to be part of this session. So thank you for your support, Alejandra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for uplifting us.
Yeah.
Yes.
And let's continue this journey. So I'm expecting to see more of you, all of the three of you, next year. And I will support. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Be well.
Everybody.
Stay safe.
Healthy.
Happy Christmas.
2020.
Happy end of the year.
Happy New Year.
Happy holidays. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.